Uh-oh. Uh-oh, Miss Ismail. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining the call this morning. Look at that superstar, Miss Ismail, with a big old smile showing off 32 teeth. Good morning. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining the call this morning. We appreciate every one of you. God bless you. Wow, 43 and counting. Let's see, two more people. Hey, I want to thank of all, Miss Evelyn, oh my goodness, we got 50, 45. We're counting. Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. I'd like to thank Pat and Frank Bowman up in Elk Grove, California. Thank you so much. We have Regional Director, our guest speaker, Mr. Julian Lewis on the call this morning. Look at a handsome young man. He's ready to go, fired up, because he knew Miss Ismail did a great job. These two are so amazing. I love them. Kinko out in Japan, thank you for joining us. Whoa. I'll let Miss Ismail get all the people in. Okay. Miss Belinda Belize, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Miss Natasha Ismail, I already called that regional director out in Fresno, California. Thank you so much. From Cruz, C-R-E-W, out in South Carolina, Miss Jones, thank you so much. Mr. Willie Cribbs is joining us in South Carolina. Ms. Caroline Baker, part of the Baker organization. Mr. Daryl Ranson, thank you so much for joining the call this morning. Mr. Gray, part of the Baker organization. Celia from Woodside, California. I love up Woodside, California, south of Sacramento. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. Regional Vice President, Miss Jocelyn Driscoll. My goodness. Woo, man. It's going to be a great call today. Mr. Ismail, ¿qué pasó, señor? Miss Joyce Brewer, thank you so much, dear. Mr. Lance Kelly, happy belated birthday. Last week we sang him happy birthday. Mr. Harris Mills, thank you so much. Mr. Payon out in Japan, thank you so much for joining us. Miss Walker, thank you so much for joining us. Mr. Sergio in Mexico for joining us. Miss Natalie, thank you so much. Mr. Ryan Swallow in Sacramento, California. Mr. Bill Howard, thank you so much. Miss Tracy Gilmore, part of the Baker organization, thank you. Miss Pat Robinson over in Oakland, Miss Vaughn, thank you so much. Miss Melanie Vaughn, thank you so much. Regional Director, Mr. Marvin Carter in Fresno, California, thank you so much for joining us today on the call. Wow, we got to go on. Look, we got to get to the meat of it. We've had this young man on, and we're just so excited. He was on last week before that. And I mean, oh my Lord, look out, he's setting the precedence here. Oh, almost a month or so with us. Man, I tell you what, this is amazing. And we've heard the stories. We're all excited about his storytelling. And the one last week about the three boys in the pool, that was amazing. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something if you've never heard this young man, if you're brand new to the call, and I know a lot of folks are jumping on now. He's first time I met this young man. I told his mentor in his penthouse, that young man is going places in San Diego. He's going to be somebody important in this business. And that was many years ago. And I told his mentor, this young man is very special, very special. He says he's a stay-at-home father, and he's mentoring his daughter. She is 14. Yes, good, straight A's just about. He's very strong and gifted leader in San Diego. He has one of the largest and fastest growing organization in San Diego. He is a mentor to so many people, and he's such a great listener to learn if we can regurgitate back some things he learned to help blow his organization up. And that's why he has one of the fastest growing organization in San Diego, period. Without further ado, Regional Director, the one and only, Mr. Julian Lewis. Can we give him a hand, everybody? Yeah. Yeah.
Good morning, Mr. Thomas. It's
always
a pleasure to start the morning off with you. I appreciate your energy. You pour into me and you make things better. It's like you and coffee together makes the day work. So thank you so much for everything. I appreciate it. How are you this morning?
I'm doing fabulous, sensational. I'm doing fine as frog hair split 5 ways in sandpaper. Real fine.
See, that's what I'm talking about. And there's no better way to feel. And ladies and gentlemen, I just want to tell you that I'm very excited to be on the conference call this morning. There's some things that I want to share with you. Before I do, I just have to, I know if you've been on the call with me before, you know I have to give it back to Mr. Thomas. You know, I had a conversation Mr. Thomas had a conversation with another senior vice president who worked with me a little bit in San Diego, Mr. Joel Frager. And what we were talking about, I was talking to him about how incredible Mr. Thomas is and how he knows every person on the Zoom conference. And I said, there's a lot of people on there. And he reaches out and he makes sure it's his duty to know who he's in business with, not just because of the business, but because he actually cares. And I've seen Mr. Frager do similar things. And here's what I do know. You guys, we are so blessed to have Mr. Thomas. I mean, not just on, but he's on here every single morning. And on top of that, if he's not, he makes sure it's prepared and set up perfectly for us to win. Just like yesterday was enormous. Mr. Thomas, oh my goodness. Natasha killed it. It's dead. I'm trying to revive it and see if I can kill it again today, but she killed it yesterday. And so I thank you for everything you do and pouring into us. And I look forward to the world opening up again so we can all see each other in person. But thank you very much. And guys, I'm not going to get too much into my background. Mr. Thomas shared that. I will tell you, I was a senior systems engineer. That's what I did before. Through the ACN system, I was able to get free of that. And I had a guy, there's another guy on here who was a Cisco certified network engineer. And I saw a message and I kept forgetting to comment on it. He said, "You left that?" I got a private message on here and he said, "You left that to do ACN?" And I said, "Yes, absolutely. Listen, I trained myself to believe that I wanted to be a senior systems engineer." But then when I thought about it, I thought back to when I was a kid. And I remember my father saying, "Julian, 16 years old, you have to pick something that you want to do because you're going to be doing it for the rest of your life." Has anyone ever heard that before? Now, if you heard me share this, my father, when he said that, that's how he said it. But here's how I heard it. You need to pick what you want to do because what you love to do because you're going to be doing it for the rest of your life. And he didn't know I was listening, but nothing about what he said sounded like fun to me. If you're going to force me, there was nothing that I did as a kid that I was forced to do my whole life. And here it is, I'm 16 and I have to choose. I'm a kid and I have to choose what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. So I said, all right, what do I want to choose? And I said, well, I just want to live the way they do on MTV Cribs. I don't know how that's going to be possible, but I know that attorneys make a lot of money, but they never really seem happy. And I'm just saying that because I have attorneys in my family, judges, all that. And then I said, well, engineers make more than attorneys in San Diego, and they don't have to argue. That's it. That's what I'm doing. That's how I did it. And then somewhere along the way as adults, we start to believe our lie, or we start to pretend our lie. I didn't want to do that anymore. I wanted to get home to my daughter. What was important to me was the people that I love in my life. And I pray that you that you get that revealed to you, what's important in your life. It may be your work, but I know I can do more good in ACN than I can do as an engineer to serve people, and service to people leads to greatness. Is this true, guys? All right. So today we're going to talk about, if you're taking notes, we're going to talk about the difference between self-discipline and motivation. Guys, this is so important. And the reason why I'm doing this is because, you know, I've talked to a lot of leaders that I've gotten a chance. They've worked with me. Miss Charlene McBonwa, RD out of San Diego, several other people, you know, Mr. Byron Nelson, Mr. Jeff Weber, a lot of people. And one thing that they shared with me when they talked to me is like, man, you have a lot of self-discipline. And I kept hearing that word, And so I needed to share with you why it is that I decided to focus on self-discipline versus motivation. Okay. And there's a gentleman, he's a psychologist out of Canada, very successful. He talked about some things dealing with motivation, and I want to share those things with you. The first thing he said is that motivation is from the root word Latin mo, which is moving of some kind. Okay, so if you're taking that down, motivation is from the root word Latin mo, which is moving of some kind. And when people rely on motivation, they have a hard time with consistency. Okay, this is huge. You want to eliminate motivation as a factor. Don't worry about how motivated we are. You want to go and do. Okay, and this is you're gonna love this as we get through this. Here's how you do it. You start with a strong foundation to pivot off of. Have you ever heard that in ACN? You need a strong foundation. What is the strong foundation in ACN? It's 3 letters. It's your reason what? Your reason why. You got it. So you need a strong foundation that you can pivot off of. Number 1, that's the first thing if you're writing down. Number 2, you need to work long-term with a schedule. Have you ever heard Mr. Thomas say you need a schedule? You need a daily method of operation. So when you combine a strong foundation with a schedule, a routine, or a regimen, what happens? You create self-discipline. You create self-discipline. And so when you're able to create self-discipline, you're able to change your dialogue. Instead of it being about fear or motivation or feelings, it's about what we do. It's just what we do every single day. Consistency will knock, listen to this, consistency will knock the crap out of motivation. Every single time. Because whether you feel good or bad, or you're in a good mood or in a bad mood, you can shrug it off. Because what you do creates results, and it's just what you do by habit. Does that make sense, you guys? I hope you're getting this. And so in talking about it, I need you to understand something else. Something that Natasha talked about yesterday. She talked about belief, right? So fear, and we've touched on fear before. Fear is a negative belief system. Faith is a positive belief system. But it all stems on belief. And I want you to know that fear is not real. The only place fear can exist is in our thoughts of the future. I need you to really, really iron that out. The only place that fear can exist is in our thoughts of the future, which means that it's not physically real. It doesn't do anything. You can't touch it. You can't hold it. And it only exists when you think of negative thoughts in the future. It is a product of our imagination. Fear is actually a product of our imagination, causing us to be afraid of things that do not at the present and may never exist. So I want you to think about the things that you worry about all the time. Most of them are imagined. And what's scary is fear is a choice that is close to insanity. Fear is a choice that is close to insanity. Playing small doesn't serve the world. Never dim your light to help others' insecurities. Guys, and I'm speaking from experience. Fear is a resistance. Your mind uses fear. And I want you to know this, because if you know your mind, here's what's so scary about our minds. Our minds know us better than we know ourselves. Our whole point of our mind is to know our soul well enough to get us to be safe. And so if our mind knows us better than we know ourselves, and our mind's whole job is to what? Keep us safe, and it doesn't know the difference between emotional pain and physical pain, it will use fear to keep us in our comfort zone. And so fear is a resistance. Your mind uses fear on many things, on the unknown, on fear of being embarrassed, on fear of being wrong. See, these are the reasons why. Mr. Thomas talks about constructive criticism. I don't care if it's constructive or if it's just normal criticism. I openly receive it from him because he's been somewhere that I haven't. He has a difference of opinion because he has a difference of perspective. See, the person, we didn't know what the world really looked like until we could fly outside of this world and turn around and look back at it. So what does that mean? We weren't in the picture anymore. We had to get a difference of perspective. Astronauts have a difference of perspective. All right? So when you talk about fear, yeah, fear is evidence, false evidence appearing real. Fear is also something that you want to be very comfortable and confident understanding so that you can go away from it. So when we're talking about fear, it has connection with motivation. The reason being is because your brain can use fear to tell you you're not motivated. And if you use motivation as your foundation, that will halt your forward movement. See, a lot of times we get on these conference calls to get motivated. I get on these conference calls like Mr. Thomas to take notes so that I can apply them to my day-to-day. I want you to think about scientists or inventors. What do? They trial and error. They fail, they find more information, they take note on it, they figure out what didn't work, and so they apply something new, and they have a catalog of that every single day, and that's how they finally figure out how to invent whatever it is they are. See, you are an inventor in your own life. You create your own reality. You create it like Miss Natasha said yesterday, based on the rope that is either tied around you, keeping you there, or your belief in your faith. And either way it goes, what's scary is that you will create a scenario in your mind and you cannot believe that you're crazy. So your mind will look for clues in your life all throughout your life to prove to you that what you are doing is real. See, I had a conversation with someone very close to me last night, and I was talking about thoughts that we can insert that aren't even our own, that we repeat over and over again long enough to the point that we believe they're real. And they can take us down a dangerous path, or they can take us down a beautiful path. See, you may not have won yet, but if you consider yourself a winner, you will attract the path that leads you to a victory. And so I have a story. There's a gentleman that Natasha mentioned yesterday that I follow like crazy. His name is David Goggins. And some of you may know his story. Some of you may not. He wrote a book, and the book is Can't Hurt Me. I highly recommend every single one of you read that book. It's in my top 5, along with Napoleon Hill's Outwitting the Devil. That's in my top 5. Okay, so David Goggins, Can't Hurt Me. And what I love about David Goggins' story is it's a story of a Black man that grew up in a racist part of the middle of the country. He grew up with an abusive father who not only abused him, he abused his mother and his brother. And he was not just verbally, but physically. And it was so traumatic. It was like PTSD for him. okay? It was so traumatic. And he would shake and he would have ulcers. He would get beaten black and blue so much that one day his mother pulled the covers back and realized his whole body was covered with bruises as like a 7-year-old boy. And that day she didn't send him to school. And he dealt with this. It was so traumatic that it created a learning disorder, and he was scared to death. He had alopecia. He was losing his hair. He had situations that adults go through. He was dealing with the stress of an adult as a 7-year-old boy. And because it happened throughout his childhood, he looked at it as normal. And so at every level, his brain tried to get him to escape it, but he couldn't. So he went numb. And so, and through high school, he found out that he was good at a few things and he could never figure out who he was. So all he did, he would lie and tell people stories because he wanted people to believe, to love him and to like him. He realized he was going nowhere. By the time he was a junior in high school, he realized that he had lied his whole way through school. He didn't know how to read. He didn't know how to learn. And he did it because he was afraid of what people would think. And he didn't want to be considered the dumb kid. So instead of learning how to learn, he decided to lie because he felt it was better to be accepted by these people who teased him and hurt him than it would be to tell the truth and learn and grow. He found himself, he went into the military, he got out, but the way he was able to go in the military was he looked in the mirror in high school at what he had become. And he said he had become a character. He hated who he became. And he started to call his accountability mirror. He wrote on the mirror who he wanted to be. And so he changed everything. He stopped sagging his pants. He cut his hair. He cut his hair completely off. He had done this weird thing where he shaved his head right here and had it on the sides like a older man because he was crazy in high school. He shaved it all off. Instead of sagging his pants, he pulled up his pants. He wore his clothes the right way. And he didn't care what people thought. He was going to show people who he really was, not who everyone thought he should be. And through doing so, he decided to learn. He started to learn. He actually passed high school. He got a decent enough score. He got into the military. And then he thought he was well. He left the military. And here's the thing about being human. If you don't constantly tend to the garden, the weeds will come back. He thought he had a good garden, so he didn't tend to the garden. The old thinking came back. He got out of the military. He got to over 300 pounds. He was working spraying for cockroaches and for rats. He was eating horribly, and he hated his life. He saw a video on TV. He saw a commercial for the Navy SEALs. Now he's close to 300 pounds, and something about that commercial resonated in his spirit. 300 pounds, black. How could he be a Navy SEAL? But he didn't hear any of that. All he heard was, I need to do this. And then he stopped thinking about it because our regular lives suck us back in. And then one day he was spraying for cockroaches, and he said he hit the mother lode of roaches and rats. He could not believe. Now, these are food establishments, by the way. He could not believe how many roaches and rats poured out of the ceiling. And I feel I couldn't deal with that, okay? Guys, I couldn't deal with it. But here's what he did. He left his equipment there. He quit that day and he drove home. He said, I had enough. They had to come find him to pick up the truck because he was so over it. And the very next day he went to work. He used to be able to run miles when he was in the military. He went out to run. He could barely run a quarter of a mile. But you know what he did? He figured out a way. He said, I need to do this. He contacted every recruiter, and every recruiter said, no, you can't be a SEAL. You're black and you're 300 pounds. There's only a handful of people that have ever become Navy SEALs that are African American. And he found one over the phone that decided that they were going to allow him to be a Navy SEAL. They didn't know how much he weighed. And when he decided to go in there, he said, look, you got to lose the weight. You got to pass the test. He didn't focus on his motivation. He focused on his routines. He set up a routines on running and swimming. He was scared to death of water, so he threw himself in the water. And he constantly learned, and he constantly faced his fears. And facing his fears became a habit, so much so that he actually got into the Navy SEALs. But here's the interesting thing. It took him doing it 3 times, the Navy SEALs test. No one else has ever done that 3 times back to back to back. When he finally passed, he passed running on a broken leg through Navy SEAL training that he taped up. Listen, the reason why I'm telling you this is because what David Goggins realized is something that I learned through fitness and through failure, is that until you're willing to go deep down inside and make a conscious habit of fixing the things that have happened to you along the way, your fear will always govern you, and you'll always need motivation to do something. See, it's until you're confident because you go in and you fix those issues. When you do that, then the consistency of the self-discipline will kick in for you. And I want to leave you with this, just so you know the difference. See, people often mistake discipline for self-discipline. Words are powerful. Words are powerful. So I want to make sure you know the difference. See, self-discipline is the ability to control one's feelings and overcome one's weakness. The ability, listen to this, the ability to pursue what one thinks is right, despite the temptations to abandon it. I need you to focus on that last part. The ability to pursue what one thinks is right, despite the temptations to abandon it. See, oftentimes in life, we're told to run from the things that are hard and to run towards the things that are easy. We're told by thought leaders to double down on our strengths and walk away from our weaknesses. But see, I know in this world, we weren't put here to just do what was easy, or in our DNA, it wouldn't be us looking for challenges. See, anything that comes free, we really want. The things that cost or the things that are challenging are the ones we appreciate. So self-discipline is the ability to pursue what you think is right, despite temptations to abandon it. Do you think it's right to win an ACN? Then it's not about it. Then why would you abandon what you said you were going to do today? It's because you haven't created self-discipline through having a foundation. Now, here's what's scary. Most people use the word discipline for self-discipline, but it's a different word. Here's the definition for discipline. Discipline is the practice of training people to obey rules or a code of behavior using punishment to correct disobedience. Listen, if you do not create self-discipline in your life, you will be disciplined by others your entire life. See, what David Goggins found is self-discipline. Look, I get it. I believe in accountability partners and all that, but you need to be accountable to yourself. Because those accountability partners, what happens if they leave? Do you leave too? What happens if your friends that you go lift weights at the gym aren't around? Do you stop lifting weights? See, half the people that I know are complaining on social media about them getting fat because the gym's not open. Who cares if the gym's not open? You still have your body. You still can do push-ups. You still can run. You still can go outside. You can still be active. But if you are relying on someone else, self-discipline creates the reality that you see in Mr. Thomas's life. Self-discipline creates the reality that you see in Miss Jocelyn Driscoll's life. It has nothing to do with outside. It's about going inside, loving yourself enough that you deserve it. And if you don't find self-discipline, you will be disciplined for your disobedience by this country. You will be disciplined into living a lower life and generating what you can afford versus what you deserve. And then what's scary about it is you'll justify it with your belief system. And you will make a horrible life reality, and you will believe it's okay because there are other people that are living at a lower level just like you. I need you to think about this. And when Mr. Thomas says, hey, you should have more people on, he's not trying to motivate you. He's trying to get you to understand that there are certain things you need to do on a day-to-day to create the results that you want in your life. And if you're waiting for you to wake up motivated, then you will be a lot like a lot of the people who are older, wishing they would have done more in their life, because we don't have time to wait, because it goes like that. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you got some value out of today. I pray you start practicing self-motivation or self-discipline and walk away from motivation and fear, because they're not going to serve you here on this planet, and they don't serve you anywhere else. The only thing that we know that transcends time and space is love and faith, and it has nothing to do with fear. Mr. Thomas, I'll pass it to you. Thank you very much again, guys.
Wow. Can we show Mr. Julian Lewis some love? My God, my God. Now, I'm going to tell you something. Every one of you need to go back and re-watch today's. We're going to post it later. Go back to the channel, and every one of you, Miss Jocelyn Driscoll, go back and watch it again. And last night and yesterday's, go watch Mondays, but Tuesdays again. Watch these two videos back to back. What a blessing. Turn the TV off tonight and quit watching, the Kardashians, and watch this tonight and bless yourself. Thank you so much, Ms. Melissa Vaughn. Thank you so much. This is powerful. This is so powerful. Thank you, sir. That was amazing today. My God. I was thinking, how you go top last week? This is amazing. You did it again. You did it again. Oh, he did it again. Anyway, you did it again, both of you. Can we give Mr. Julian Lewis one more hand? My God, Lord have mercy. Every one of you, you owe it to yourself to go back and watch it again, because there was so much gravy and juice out of this. My goodness. Well, wow. Tonight, while you're talking, I'm gonna give you a call, sir, in a minute. Tonight at 6:00 p.m. Pacific Coast time. Tonight, right back here tonight, I'm doing a 1 through 10. Miss Isabel is going to introduce me. I'm going to do the 1 through 10. Get guests on here. Now, let me tell you something. If you're an IBO, get on here and watch how I read it. Just read it. I've teed off so many people. They can't grow because they won't learn how to. So tonight, get on here and watch me how I read it and get a guest on. Next week, we got to, oh my God, let me try to finish up this week. My God. So yesterday, we started a week off. Miss Ismail, can we give her a hand for yesterday? I was en route flying back. So thank you so much. And Mr. Lewis did a fantastic job. Tomorrow, we got Mr. Cooper, Shaquille Cooper. All you youngsters got Shaquille Cooper telling his story. That's going to be powerful. Get on and make sure you got a slot. On Thursday, we got the Chicago Mob back on here for part 2 with the Chicago Mob on Thursday. And on Friday, we got Mr. Dwight Williams, just confirmed him for Friday as well. Now, don't forget, tonight, 6 o'clock here. Tomorrow night, Miss Ismail's got her 1 through 10. And then on Thursday night, Mr. Marvin, and Miss Evans. I think she's on the line right now from South Carolina. Have you contacted Miss Evans yet, Miss Ismail? Miss Evans, she's going to give you a call. We're going to see if we can have you do the 1 through 10 on Thursday to read it. Thank you so much, Miss Evans. And then Dwight on Friday, and then Friday night happy hour. How do you guys like happy hour last Friday night? Was that crazy? Was that a lot of fun? We try to make it a lot of fun. And then Saturday, leadership. And then Sunday, we've got Miss Ismail's going to do a training on how to read scripts. Reading scripts, and training is going to be how to read a script. So many of you think you know what you know, but you don't know, you don't, you know. And next Monday, starting August, every Monday, Ms. Driscoll will be back. Every Thursday, Mr. Dean Torelli will be back. And every Friday, Mr. Nelson will be back. Here's our lead up for next week. There she is. Next Monday, look at there. All of August, all of August, all of August, all of August. Yeah, all Monday, Momentum Monday, we call it, with Miss Giles and Bristol. On Thursday, Throwback Thursday with Dean Torelli. Friday, Follow-Up Friday with Mr. Nelson, Byron Nelson on Friday. That's August lineup. Man, we got ahead of y'all. We got so much stuff going on. You have no idea. If you cannot get somebody on here, something's wrong with you. If you cannot get on here with a guest, something is wrong. So let's make sure we're taking a note of all this. Get it in your schedules, get it in your calendar so you know where we're going with this. We're here to help you make as much as you want to make if, in fact, you do this. What time is Saturday leadership? 6 o'clock. All the things. Friday night happy hour, 6 o'clock. Friday night happy hour, 6 o'clock. Saturday training, leadership, 6 o'clock. Sunday night training, 6 o'clock p.m. Everything is 6 o'clock. Tonight is 6 o'clock. Thursday night, 6 o'clock. Friday night, 6 o'clock. Saturday, 6 o'clock. Sunday, 6 o'clock p.m. Everything is real easy to follow. Thank you all for being a jump. Let's get back. Where's Mr. Julian? There he is. Let's give him one more hand today. Wow, wow, wow. What a blessing. What a blessing. And like I say, go back and listen today. And after you finish today, go back and look at yesterday, Ms. Ismail. Oh, my God. OMG, OMG. They both, Mike. I think it's a duel going here. I don't know who's up. I have no idea. But they're both superstars. They're doing a great job. So tonight at 6 o'clock, I'll be back doing the 1 through 10. Get guests on here. And tomorrow morning, we got Mr. Shaquille Cooper. And with that, God bless you. Have a great Tuesday. And remember, go talk to somebody, share the opportunity, and never, ever quit this business. God bless. Have a safe day out there.